AITA for telling my super rich podcaster friend she is unbearable to hang out with? I mean, it is really self-explanatory, but I'll give some details. My bestie since childhood, let's call her Jenny, has her finances secured. She, 35 years old, built and made an exit from a business making her insanely rich. She comes from a very humble background and I can confidently say that she has earned it by working for it. I come from a pretty average background and have a pretty average job today, so does most of our friends. I don't miss anything and I do have savings, can go on trips, etc. Her story is a fairy tale and we are all super proud of her, but a couple of years ago she was approached by an agency that pushed her to become a public motivational speaker and podcaster. Since then, she has become increasingly unbearable to be around and I eventually came to the point where I needed to tell her. Since Jenny got rich she has always been herself, just in a more fancy package, and I have loved that for her. You go girl. She has always been super respectful about other people's finances and when we meet up she's always up for whatever the rest of us can afford with. Even on her bachelorette party she made a deal about making sure to do things everyone could afford. When pursuing her journey as a motivational speaker and podcaster, I had to revisit everything I thought about her. All of her motivational tips were related to not wanting to be an average person and then anyone can become just as rich as her if they weren't lazy. In one episode she talks about making sure to surround oneself with successful people to avoid looking at average people as an acceptable norm. She even went as far as describing another friend's husband as her nightmare partner as he lacks ambition. She didn't mention him by name, but other details that made us able to identify him. Over time, this worsened and eventually other friends stopped inviting her to things. Now the podcast took another turn and she started to talk about how to handle when people turn your back at you for becoming successful and how lonely it is at the top. I decided it was time to tell her I think she's losing grip of reality and that if she continues with being so judgmental in her podcast she will end up just as lonely as she describes herself to be. Jenny got super pissed at me and told me she wouldn't expect this from her best friend and claims I have been jealous and felt inferior to her my whole life, which is absolutely not true. She tells me the whole podcast thing is her playing a part and that she exaggerates her opinions for reach. She thinks I am the one who has convinced all the others to leave her side and wants me to apologize before ever speaking to me again. Help me here, AITA? Should I apologize?